great day down there. It's going to be interesting to see the driver fatigue, etc. inside the car, and how much effort actually goes into driving these vehicles, because I'm sure that it wouldn't be an easy job around here on such a warm day.
Cole Russell, how is the trackside temperature down there?
The track temperature is going up, but it's not a problem to the cars. The cars really are not going to be affected by the temperature that's out here, so it's a pleasant day. I mean, yeah, they're going to get hot. They'll lose a bit of weight in the cars, but the track temperature is not, I don't believe, going to be a deciding factor. Brakes, the fuel stops, the fuel's going to be the slowest thing they put in. They're not allowed to spill it. They've all got a siphon hose exactly the same size, and what I said about 15 seconds before, I think we assess that and say about 1 minute 15 seconds for one drum.
And we're racing, ladies and gentlemen, the 3-hour HQ race with the 0-1 car of David Wood and Mark Craig for Impact Automotives leads the huge field of 52 HQ Holmes down to turn number 1. They stretch from one end of the main straight to the other, dust down at the entrance to the turn, but it looks like all through pretty smoothly. A bit of biffing and bashing as the midfielders get into that turn 1, but the leaders coming through the chicane and up over the hill.
I don't like the idea for this chicane for the first time. There are 2 abreast still.
That's a little bit willing.
Going to be interesting. Now they're starting to shuffle up. There's not two abreast through the chicane, I'm afraid.
The poleman David Wood is in the lead with Terry Hamilton throwing out a challenge on lap number 1 at the end of the back straight in Motorcraft Quarter.
Oh, this is going to be the interesting part coming around here.
Oh, 3 abreast, that's a little bit willing. Brakes lock up. Door handle to door handle midfield. But it's David Wood that's got the little jump, and already the 77 car is just leaving the pits. He got up late, he forgot to set his watch on daylight savings time. David Wood in the 0-1 car from Terry Hamilton in the 32 car. Hamilton going down the main straight, gets into the slipstream of David Wood, throws out a challenge at the end of the main straight. Can he do anything about it? Side by side they go into turn number 1, drink drive corner. And we've had a lead change already. I would suggest that Terry Hamilton has already taken over the lead as they come through the chicane. Up over the hill. Confirmed, Terry Hamilton, 32, takes the lead on lap number 2. 2 laps, 1.5 laps completed, and 2 race leaders already.
Well, that's nothing out of the ordinary, Ian. It's what we come to expect.
Have a look at these in the midfield.
Yeah, I know. It's still like Burt Street on a very, very busy 5 o'clock.
Could almost suggest
weekday.
if they get in single file, they'll cover the entire track. Terry Hamilton in the 32 car. He's running this weekend for Johto Engine Reconditioning, out in the lead as he completes lap number 2. David Wood.
Aussie Newhouse is the car that's in 3rd spot. In fact, the leaders start to stretch out just a little bit. It's well and truly packed in the midfield, but at the beginning, ahead of the field, the pointy end, it's starting to stretch out just a bit with our leader, Terry Hamilton, probably now about half a dozen car lengths in front of the early leader, which of course was David Wood.
Down to Colin Russell on pit lane.
Just having a look at the Southern Motors car number 7. If you keep your eye on that one, he won't make the race with the amount of fuel he's got in. It's obviously got a flooding problem. Black smoke coming out of the back of that car, so I expect him to come in for some sort of an adjustment shortly.
Rodney Jane and Phil Carter in the Bob Jane team out Southern Motors, car number 7. Problems already reported by Cole Russell down in pit road.
Yes, as I noticed on the side of 49, Ian, when the car went up the back straight, that's the Philip Smith car. That's that day-glow yellow car, and it's certainly been marred its presentation by some big black tyre marks down the side. You'll see that when the car goes up the other side, not from this straight. I notice also that the EB1 sponsored car of Tim Dombrain is coming up well, car 85. That's co-driven by Max Bonney and Joe Vickers. That's the Bendix Mintex car. It's come up quite substantially. It would probably be up into about 7, or what? No, it's a bit more up than that's a 5th position.
Nearly half a lap separating the leader from the tail of the field already. We're only on around lap 4. So already the leader gets right out.
So I think within a few laps, Gerald, it's going to be an awful lot more than that.
Oh yes, it certainly is. Boy, the freight train of HQs comes into the chicane. Now coming around onto the main straight again. And
Peter Holmes and Steve Monterosso in the JV crash car just made a move up to 3rd spot. So they're one of the movers.
Yes, Ian, that's an interesting car because that's from South Australia. And we were remarking earlier that South Australian cars, of course, are going to be very busy next Thursday at the Grand Prix meeting. So therefore, not very many of them have actually fronted for this meeting, which is a pity that the two meetings were so close together.
Certainly is.
The 51 car making its way out onto the racetrack now. The first time it's actually got out onto the racetrack for this event. So he or she, the McDonald 51 car, already number around 5 laps down. Colin Russell predicted that the number 7 car of Rodney Jane and Phil Carter mightn't last long. They're already starting to lose desperate ground and just one car off being in last place.
Like the 65 car or maybe the 85 car making up ground.
Yellow caution. Caution is out onto the racetrack. We've got the yellow flag is waving. It must be down at turn number 1 and 2. It is on the chicane coming out of turn number 2 into the quick chicane. Colin Russell down on pit lane.
Yes, there is a car on the infield down there, just probably almost out of your sight, but that's the reason. I'll get that car out of there, and the cars will bank up again as the pace car comes out, which really lets the brakes cool down. Everybody can have a little bit of a think about what's going on and get back on the pace again.
Cars coming back around. We're going to get racing again, but really is something that everyone needed to be briefed on, and perhaps it might have been just one of those things that not was explained first.
I can't comment on that as the green flag.
Tightly over the outside.
Look at this. 4 abreast.
Robin Kitely, one of our favourites over at the Thunderdome. He's gone the inside. They're going to go into turn number 1 down the bottom end. Boy, Cole Russell, down to Colin Russell.
Yeah, on the restart, you probably missed it, but it looks like the
74 car.
Yeah, the 74 car got shunted very heavily into the wall. A lot of people missed it, but it happened right on the restart.
Colin Russell down there again. He was right on the scene. We were looking at Robin Kitely diving to the infield. Cole Russell is running up there like an athletic, a white Carl Lewis, doing a fabulous job. But Robin Kitely in the milestone car heading up the back straight. The yellow caution is out.
Yeah,
Caution out.
That was on. Always on with this car right down the front here. This packed field, you couldn't possibly allow a car to be anywhere near the racing line.
And Robin Kitely, will he go back to, it goes back to the previous lap, the order, doesn't it? So, in fact, he mightn't get to hold his advantage of being in front.
No, it goes to the order as when
Called the yellow
flag is out. Yeah.
Cole Russell down there with the driver.
Yes, a very bitterly disappointed driver, of course, and he said, I don't think I got touched. Everyone went, then they stopped. I went again, had to get on the brakes, and the car just lost control and slid off. It's basically unexplainable. As a matter of fact, Maxter Jersey came in with a loose steering column, so the nut behind the wheel was really loose.
Those concrete walls are very unforgiving, Gerald.
Very unforgiving, and
but that's what they're there for.
Cole Russell, the 41 car. What appears to be the problem there?
Fuel vaporisation, the under-bonnet temperature's obviously up reasonably high, and
wasn't fuel vaporisation a standard feature of the HQ?
yeah, unfortunately, I had a Triumph that suffered with that too. But yeah, the guys are going to try and keep the fuel pump a little bit cooler, and hopefully put less restrictions in the road of the fuel getting into the carburettor. They're not very happy about it, naturally. It doesn't want to run on vapour. The pump certainly won't pump it.
The 32 car of Terry Hamilton has come up into second spot and through into third. It's the 65 car,
so
being David Giddis.
Woods lost a bit of ground there. He's gone back to fourth now. And it is Peter Holmes and Steve Monterosso well out in front. We've got about a 10-car length lead over the second place car. The 65 car, then followed by 32, the 01 car of Wood coming in. The track time car of Ken James and Rowan Harmon coming into the pit area. So they are into the pit area right now. Appears to be some problems.
Well, that was the car that was black flagged,
yeah.
Of course. Did it come in for the black flag?
It did, and now it has the bonnet up, so it appears to be a substantially bigger problem than a stop-go penalty. The active display car of Fitzgerald and Gibbs goes past in second. The 32 car. The field's starting to spread out a little bit, and I think we're really starting to see some of the experience between the flat track races and the normal Thunderdome races as well. But 3 hours is a long time of racing, so I'm sure it will sort the men out from the boys. Oh, there's one off in the chicane. That's one of the EV1 Bendix Middex cars. Can't quite see if it's...
Tim Dobbrain it'll be.
Is it? There's two of the cars who can't quite make the number out from here. Here comes one of the other cars. This is the 84 car. I think that's Dobbrain there.
That's Tim Dobbrain, yes, right.
Just over 35 minutes into this 3-hour HQ Classic, and a new race leader, David Giddis.
Colin, what do you think is the proper race tactic to take with these HQs? It's just lap very consistently but very softly on the brakes. Use the gearbox as much as you can.
Yeah, probably, but the big thing, of course, is to sort of set yourself an upper rev limit and stick to it. In other words, if the thing will do 5,000 revs down the straight, make it 4,900, just to have that little bit of margin up your sleeve, because that full throttle business is really going to cook a few head gaskets.
Up to the end of the back straight, where one of the other cars has just gone farming. It's the white car number 3. Took a short cut across the S's. Number 3 being driven by Mark Wells and Rowan Richardson, the Revolution race gear car. But it is David Giddis in the 65 car, just with about a 2-car length gap between himself and Peter Holmes down the main straight. Terry Hamilton still sitting in third spot.
Just saw Rodney Jane's car in the pits. Car number 7. Just gone out again, Ian. I think that,
Colin Russell's going to be busier than us today. There's going to be a lot of activity down there.
Yes, it'd be a bit more pleasant for him than possibly some of these engine bays, though, of the cars whizzing past us, because they're going to be operating for a long time, as he said, at full throttle down this long straight. It's going to be a very interesting test of the preparation of some of these motor cars.
These cars that have been running around the Thunderdome really haven't been using their gearboxes at all. All of a sudden, we're starting, as you say, you're using the gearbox to change down, and I think gearbox is starting to show up as a little bit of a problem. I'll wait for Mark to indicate exactly where the problem is, but that's the problem back there with the 83 car with the Baxter signs. They're hoping it's linkage problems, but if it is, they're spending a long time just adjusting linkages.
Peter Fitzgerald would be a good one to partner you in a race like this, because he's had a lot of long-distance racing experience, not only at Sandown, Bathurst, and also the long-distance race at Winton for production cars.
And of course came third at the first Thunderdome in the Oscar race.
Yes.
Which went back to the 110 laps.
Street Gas Auto Wreckers car being pushed to the garages out of pit road, as is the Sydney Lounge Discounters car being pushed away. Unfortunately, Michael and Scotty Wood not having a good day at the motor races today, nor is
poor old Michael didn't even get a drive.
Nor is Dad, Greg Wood. Good afternoon, sir. Not as happy a day as you had at the Thunderdome a couple of weeks ago, but what you could do? You go and sell a few more lounge suites, she'll be right, mate. No worries.
Well, I think I'm correct in saying, Ian, that car 41 has come to a halt a little bit further along than last time at the chicane. He's facing me, so I'm not really sure that it's 41, but it looks the right colour. But he's down in the middle of the track and a little bit out of the racing line, so I think they might be inclined to leave him there without closing this field up again.
90% sure it is the 41 car. Actually, if anybody came off the chicane coming onto the hill area, they'd take off and land on his roof if they were going fast enough, so I think it's pretty safe there. She'll be right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, if they land on his roof, at least it's sort of not going to bang the panels, is it?
91 car.
The floor.
Yeah. That's the 91 car, Kim Jane.
And Glenn Cullen. That's been in the pits, I would think, for about 10 minutes.
And it's been in 4 or 5 times.
Really?
Prior to that, so they're not having a great day. And can I just say, do some of these HQs sound off now? Are they starting to sound, a few of them are starting to sound very ragged?
Like that
Yeah,
one.
like that one.
That one.
Yes.
Cole Russell, how do they sound? You're a lot closer to them.
Those that are running nice are doing exactly that, running nice, but the ones that are running ragged really are getting a little bit ragged. Kim Jane has come in. They say it's a timing adjustment, but oh gee whiz, you know, once you get the timing right, it's right. So there's a misfire in the motor, and they claim it's a timing adjustment.
Yeah, timing adjustment, Cole, means getting all 6 to fire in the right way.
And at the right time, one after the other.
Yeah, exactly. Not 2 together.
65.801. That's the order as they cross the strike. The Vic Health start-finish line.
32, 6 and 84, I think, are the rest. Coming through now, certainly car number 6 is Stephen Carless. That's a name that we're quite familiar with. And 84, of course, is the car that we're not quite sure as to who's driving it, but it'll be Tim Dombrane or Max Bonney or Joe Vickers.
Race leader continues to widen that gap. He's just going into Motorcraft corner, heading through the S's, has a car between himself and the second place man, which is Peter Holmes. This is the race leader heading down towards the main strike now. 65, the Action Display Group, sponsored, and it's an HQ hold. But Gerald, we had a couple of caution periods when it all got hectic in the first few laps, but things seem to have settled down.
Yeah, certainly have, and perhaps some of the back markers would be hoping for a bit of a caution period now. It would obviously serve their purposes a lot better than the front leaders.
Oh, a big lockup,
dear,
a big lockup at the end of the back straight. That's the 27 car.
car is off and just held onto it. He's still onto the grass, comes back onto the track.
It's David Lambrick and Kevin Pitt in the Greensboro Panels car.
Lambrick comes out and races at the Thunderdome, of course.
Well, our leader's just gone past, and in actual fact it was some of the leaders that were lapping those cars that caused that incident. Car 8, car 1 going past Impact 32, Terry Hamilton, of course, there in 4th place. He's got through, but it was all the leaders lapping those back markers that meant that 27 was trying probably to get out of the way more than anything else. David Lambrick and locked up a break and slid off onto that sandy section.
Race leader continues to widen that gap. He's just going into Motorcraft corner, heading through the S's, has a car between himself and the second place man, which is Peter Holmes. This is the race leader heading down towards the main strike now. 65, the Action Display Group, sponsored, and it's an HQ Holmes.
Everybody seems to be staying pretty much out of each other's way at the moment, Ian. It's some very sedate driving as everybody settles into a pattern. And they're all being very well behaved.
We best not speak too soon.
Well, it's nothing like a good yellow flag period to block everything up.
Colin Russell, things seem to have gone quiet down in pit road, almost empty apart from a couple of cars a little bit further up.
Yes, it has been a little bit quiet. I was just talking to Ken James in the track time car. They actually drove that car out here today, so that's a real street car. It's overheating dramatically, and Ken said, look, what we might do is come into the pits, stay 15 minutes, go out for 15 minutes, come in for 15. He said that way the 3-hour race will only take 2 hours.
That's a logical way of doing it. Of course, in doing that, he's getting plenty of television time for his sponsors.
Yeah, well, the track time car, I think that's one of the reasons they're out here, and you know, great to see the guys out here. And he said, look, the car's okay. He did enter for the other car. I think it's the number 2 car somehow or other. It's running a little bit better, but he only did that just in case prior to starting someone broke a leg or something like that. So he'll only be driving the 1 car.
Number 3 car, another casualty. Looks like it's heading into the garage area behind the pit lane. That's the Mark Wells Rowan Richardson Revolution race gear car, unfortunately for Mark Wells. The 91 car that's coming out yet again. That's shall we say the 5th or 4th or 5th pit stop for the Kid Jane Glenn Cullen car.
Yes, they're not having a happy afternoon at all. But our race leader still threads his way through the back markers, proceeds down the straight. He's opened up, well, maybe slightly more over second place car Peter Holmes. Peter Holmes, Ian, I noticed, is currently leading the South Australian State Championship and is currently second in the CAMS Driver of the Year Championship.
He's doing good. The HPM electrical car of Richard White and Michael Fitzgerald, car number 74, has come back onto the track from the garages. They've been doing some work in the garage area, come back onto the track to rejoin the race. I'd suggest that that's probably 20 minutes that's been hidden away back in the garages, so he's well out of contention.
64 car running on all 8 at the moment. All 8 legs pushing it down pit lane, Colin, and it's a lot harder to win races doing that than actually using the motor for acceleration.
Yes, definitely. I just checked, quite definitely car 32, which is Terry Hamilton's car, has dropped back to 6th place. Well, Colin, what I was about to say before is that I thought that some of the crews down in front of me were preparing for a pit stop perhaps for fuel and probably tyres. Now this would be the time to do it, wouldn't it?
Well, not only is it the right time, the moment they come in, of course, the car's jacked up and it'll allow the brakes to cool down and everybody is coming into the pits. The pits are going to get very hectic here in the next few moments, so let's keep our eyes on it. The Wells-Richardson cars come in. Of course, we know that that's only done a couple of laps on front brakes only. Be interesting to find out how those guys feel about that.
One of the first in was the 89 car of Trevor Hale and Kurt Davies, the Goodyear car. The 2 car comes in, the 21 car. 67, they're piling in down pit road, taking advantage of this caution period. We have caution, there's a problem down out of turn number 1. Let's go to Cole Russell again.
Okay, well, it appears that most of the cars that are coming in are a routine pit stop, and the fueling is, as I thought it would be, a very, very large problem. They can only jiggle siphon the fuel in. They cannot do anything with the fuel except leave it up on the concrete fence. That's the rules of it. And look, it just is painfully slow. But what can you do? You just wait for the fuel to run in.
I'm watching Colin. Actually, we can see it quite clearly on that 89 car right in front of us. And they just sort of sitting there.
You'd hope you'd jiggle pretty well during the week so you can get that petrol flow going, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, you would, Gerald. Yes, I'm glad you said that, not me. Well, it's still certainly car 65 that's held on to the lead. Of course,
David Gittis' car.
David Gittis' car. He's got it. Oh, there's some goings on further back.
Oh, one car very sideways into.
It's Robin Kite.
It's gone. It's gone. That's the big one. He's copped it.
Oh, and around goes. Now, one of those was the previous leader. I think I'm correct in saying.
One that's called
the red and blue.
13 car has got the real big shunt. Real big shunt. The 13 car got it on both sides.
Yeah, Robin Kitely was involved in that. He's there. David Carlos is on the outside of him. Now, Robin Kitely is
01 car.
Back. Yeah, 01.
That's the one that got it.
Yeah, I thought that he was involved in it.
Almost half distance in this very first HQ Classic, Steve. It's going well.
It's very good indeed, and I'm sure the boys are out there having one hell of a lot of fun. I've been around the track just about on every corner so far and watched them in their braking manoeuvres and passing manoeuvres, and they seem to be having quite a lot of fun, and that's the name of the game here today, Calder.
A little bit of pressure being put on the All Duck team right down in front of us. I don't think they quite plan to have both cars in at the one time, but that's what they've got at the moment.
Yes, with no air jacks and no dry brake fueling systems, it certainly makes it a tough time for the crews here in the HQ 3-hour Enduro.
Colin Russell, you're down with the 16 car. Sorry, yes. 14 car, Terry Waihoon.
The 14 car, we just took 2 numbers off that 16. Yes, they're coming along quite well. Grant Monday has just finished his stint. Grant, she's pretty hot out there. How's the car handling up to the conditions?
Yeah, the car's really good, thanks. We're probably a little bit down on power in the straight, but the brakes are fantastic. We're catching everybody under brakes and rounding through the corners, but unfortunately the engine's just getting a little bit warm at the moment, so I thought I'd pull in and let Terry have a run.
Okay, thanks very much, Grant Monday.
Grant Monday's a bit lucky just to have engine overheating problems, Steve, rather than problems that a lot of others have had with head gaskets and being put out of the race.
Yeah, that's interesting that the head gasket problem is showing up, and I can't quite work that one out myself. I mean, these guys have done long-distance races in these cars before, and it seems rather unusual that they all seem to be having a head gasket problem. Perhaps they've gone for a bit more compression to get a bit more horsepower and blowing it, literally.
They certainly have.
Actually, a good HQ, I think, according to the guys that we've been speaking to here this weekend. They're a whole lot of fun to drive, and I think a lot of people would realise, I'm sure, but there's probably a lot that don't, that just how well prepared some of these cars are. Certainly we've got some cars that have come from the amateur ranks, and then the guys that are putting it together in their own backyard, but there's some very professionally built race cars out there as well.
We believe that it's the number 32 car of Terry Hamilton and Darryl Hendrick, the Johto engine reconditioning car. It's the red car going up the back straight just out of the chicane now, is in the lead. That's the latest news that we have. That's not even the 32 car, he's further back. It certainly is a red car. Looking for him.
There's no shortage of red cars out here today.
Gee, thanks, Steve. So it's our tip that it is Terry Hamilton and Darryl Hendrick in the Johto engine reconditioning car. Number 32 just crossing the strike now that is leading this race, and we are just over half distance in this 3-hour HQ Classic.
And of course, Ian will have some further updates. We've just got a slight little problem with our timing on the computer where we can't give exact accurate details right at this point in time, but momentarily they should be coming through to us and we'll be able to feed them through to the spectators. And we've got tyre rubbing on the back straight. In fact, it's rubbing on a HQ rear guard, not the back straight. That's right, Jeremy.
Big troubles there for the 75 car. Craig Jones and Max de Jersey. Poor old Max. Grant Munday did say that they had some overheating problems when he changed over to Terry Wyhoon, but everything else was A-OK. But that overheating problem has obviously got the better of the HQ. I see Cole Russell down in pit road with the technical inspector. I wonder how he thinks things are going, Cole.
Well, he's very happy. He said the marvellous technology in the old 202 engine. Maybe the 202 radiator's even doing a fairly good job.
Cole, what we believe our race leader 32 has just come in.
Okay, we'll go and check out because we know it takes about 3 laps to put the fuel in.
So you don't have to hurry.
One.
Don't hurry, Cole. You can wander down there.
Get those Reeboks out, Cole.
One of the other interesting things is the Wells car is actually lapping quicker without rear brakes than what it was when it had them. So there you go. Front brakes only, they're lapping quicker.
That's not surprising, actually, Colin. It's just once you get down the end of the main straight, you then got to do the U-turn and get round the corner after you've stopped on the train tracks and then charge up the back straight. So I'm sure that without all that braking beforehand, they're okay. The 46 car with the big the bonnet up, but 32 car definitely in there, Cole.
Not in there, it's been and gone.
Yeah.
So I can't believe that one. I don't know what the deal was there, but they came in and they were out. They took on no fuel, I would say.
Do we see an exciting little race plan being divulged here, gentlemen? I'd like to take this opportunity also, Ian, to thank the HQRA for all the work that they have put into this event this weekend, in particular Les Morel, the president of the association, who has worked extremely hard on putting this event together, and we've really just kept the doors open and a few things pointed in the right direction. It's been largely in the hands of the HQ people, and they've done a great job with this event in putting it on, and of course our race direction team and officials team from Calder Park Thunderdome out there working all weekend to keep everybody doing things the honest way and the right way. So many thanks to all the officials that are with us this weekend in helping this event come to bear. And as I said, many thanks to Les Morel. I'm not sure whether he's in the car at the moment or in pit lane or listening, but thanks, Les, for all the work you put into this, and we'll be back again next year, bigger and better.
Having been on the peripheral of all of that type of organisation for about 20 years now, you don't really know what it's all about until you start doing it, do you? It's not just inviting 100 cars along for a weekend's racing. There's a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a lot of little administrative type deals that you've got to keep on top of, and Les has done a great job of that, and pumping out the regulations and everything to the competitors, and it's really worked out very well indeed.
I believe that would be the first time that we've seen the 54 car of Michael Hibbert and Graham Green, the Dynamotive Bishop's Panels car, come into the pits. And I guess in the next 8 minutes, Steve, anybody that hasn't pitted already is going to have to come in.
They sure are. There's going to be very little left in the fuel tank if they haven't pitted already, and that I think that car 32 was the only one that's allowed to do that.
'41 car, what a day he's had.
Yes, one he'd sooner forget. In fact, it's one of the prettiest cars out there on the track. Beautifully prepared, and I remember at the last Thunderdome meeting, I'm sure it's exactly the same car, ended up rather bent. So they've done a lot of repair work to that between last Thunderdome meeting and this event.
Tell you what, they've done a pretty schmick paint job if they've had to put it back together. The number 7 car out once again.
Rocket Rodney Jane. It looks like Phil Calder at the wheel this time in car number 7, sponsored by Southern Motors and Goodyear. Heading out there.
Phil's had his work cut out today, not only behind the wheel. remember last time that the car came in.
It's a matter of interest with the time. I actually hit the stopwatch when the cars first got the green light, and it was 1:35. Now, I don't know whether they start the race time from the first time they go out with the pace car, or whether in actual fact 1:35, 3:35, and then of course 4:35 will be the final 3 hours.
I'd go in the latter direction if I were you, Cole, right from the green light.
And we have a yellow flag. We've got a pace car.
Caution on the racetrack.
Oh, we've got somebody. Oh, that's 01. Is it not, Ian?
Certainly is the 01 car that had the big shunt up at the end of the main straight. I think it's just parked at this time. The David Wood, Mark Craig Impact Automotives car that had the big impact up at the S's at the end of the main straight probably half, 3/4 an hour ago.
Yeah, he's not in a good spot.
He's just parked it, so our race director, Al Bass Knight, has made another very good decision and brought out the caution period, a full caution on the racetrack to clear the 01 David Wood Mark Craig car.
Well, now we certainly will have everybody in that hasn't been in, because if they don't come in now, they've got rocks in their head. Because they really must take this opportunity. This is the best opportunity. Gee whiz, that's a quick way to get rid.
EB Falcon, pace car with lights atop, extinguished, pulls off into the pit road entrance, and the cars, this should give us an indication, Tom, of who our race director thinks is in the lead. And
well, yes, I suppose it will.
It's given it to the 15 car, Philip Aiken and Warwick Manderson, the wins car.
Well, I don't really know about that. If everybody's done a pit stop.
So the cars again heading around onto the main straight, coming out of the Goodyear turn, number 10. David Parsons and the Parsons Cassidy car leading them across the line. That time the 13 car is a few laps down. So the leader is the number 4 car. And of course that is the Saliba and Mifsud car. They started way back in the 30th position, Alex Saliba and Joseph Mifsud. And if they are leading the field, they're doing a fantastic job. It is a race of attrition, and there has been many that have attrited.
Thank you, Mr. Oxford. Up the back straight. Here comes the pack after the 4th, maybe 5th caution period. The 2 car having a lonely race. It's the Ken James, Brett Yulden track time car.
Of course, you can have a go at Track Time HQ Holden here at Calder Park for as little as $55.
A quickie for $55.
Quickie, that's the cheapest quickie session I've ever heard of for $55. 5-lap session. What about 2 times the 5-lap session for $95? And that's the Track Time people. To find out more about that, all you've got to do is give them a call on 802-5588. 91 car of Cullen and Jane doing fairly well now, considering their problems this morning when they absolutely blew a radiator hose off the car. It's quite a bit of a bang, that.
Certainly was a big bang, Gerald. And of course they did visit the pits about 6 times at the start of this race, which is a bit unfortunate also.
Well, a couple of cars coming side by side through the dog leg on the back straight. That's the Mifsud and Saliba car. Coming under now is the JV Crash Repairs car. Boy, Mifsud, Saliba locked the brakes up. They're down into the S's, coming around up onto the Goodyear kink. That will take them back onto the main straight, but there was 3 abreast going into the Motorcraft S's. Those guys now coming around under the Goodyear corner. Pedal to the metal, pull that 3-speed shifter, pull the gear stick down on the column into 3rd gear. 13 car and the number 1 cars go past, but the Ward and Cavello car doing very well. Number 4 car of Mifsud and Saliba running right alongside the Wilson and Rugged car of Wilson and Ruggles.
Of Wilson and Ruggles.
Yeah, that's right. 83 all-duck car of Avard and Hayes coming back into the pit area right now. And the all-duck team haven't had the best of days. They seem to be troubled fairly dramatically. A lot of pride at stake here, making sure that you're running at the end of the 3-hour period.
Oh, yeah, too right. It will be quite an achievement for every one of the cars that's running at the end of 3 hours to achieve that. Well, as we wind down to 20 minutes to go.
Cole Russell, are there any experts along pit road that think they know who is going to get on the podium?
No, most people are coming along and asking me who he believes in the lead at this present moment, but no, I think everybody's playing it very, very close to their chest at this very moment. I went over to that car, 46, yes, it's a sad engine. It's decided to quit it for the day.
And another car, of course, we keep on not mentioning, but we should, although they've had 2 pit stops, is car 84, Tim Dockrane's other car. That one, of course, started off position 5, and except for the 2 pit stops, has run fairly faultlessly right throughout the race. So there are quite a number of cars which should be considered to have a fair chance. 84 going past us right now as 54 comes into the pits. That's the Hibberton Green car.
Of course, the pole position and everything was decided. We split all the cars up into 4 groups after qualifying. We ran 4 heats. The quickest cars went into the first heat and so forth. The second lot of quickest cars into the second heat. Third lot into the third, and the slowest amount of cars went into the last heat. And the pole positions, etc., were then decided on the results that those drivers gained in those races. It ended up that David Wood and Mark Craig were on pole, and Ozzie Newhouse was second. He had actually qualified around half a second slower than the Wood and Craig car, but obtained a great result in the Heat 1. Well, Cole Russell down in pit lane, the walking Encyclopedia Britannica.
Well, we hope, yeah, I'm back on air again. I've got a little bit of an aerial problem. I'm holding the radio the best I can. I don't know how you've been calling them at this moment, but of the official results at this present moment, unless it's changed in front of my very eyes, is number 4 leading, 73 is second, and 49 is third. Have you got a confirmation on that at all up there?
Negative.
Got to be kidding.
Well, that's what I've got directly from the race director. 4, 73 and 49.
Well, 73, of course, is the Fletcher car, Leon Fletcher car, and car 49, and just looking through the list.
Marshall J. Brewer, Philip Smith in the Chris Milton Engine Developments HQ Holmes.
Doing a great job. And the number 4 car, of course, is the Celebra Mifsud car. Started 36th on the grid this morning.
Well, that would be the drive of all times if they're in front.
Yeah, it would be a fantastic job. And Colin, you look like you're in a very compromising position there at the moment.
Is there anything we should know, Colin?
Long life has fallen apart at the seams.
Well, there's only, around 10 minutes to go, Tom?
Just under?
Just under 10 minutes. Car 4, we are told, is leading. 73 is in second position. Car 4 comes past. Oh, 73 sitting right on the tail. Boy, is this going to be a challenge for the lead. They're coming down the main straight. It is 73. Colin, were they on the same lap? He's just taping up his microphone. He'll let us know shortly after that.
He says yes.
They are on the same lap. So the 73 car of Leon Fletcher might just be going into the lead.
He has.
He's gone into the lead. We have a new leader, Leon Fletcher and Glenn Everett, the Down Under Wreckers HQ. Holden, of course, it's a HQ. It wouldn't be there otherwise. They're into the lead. The Miss Sudden Saliba car had been leading for quite some time, but now the 73 car has put the pedals down to the metal. The little kangaroo is starting to hop down the main straight, back straight, and boy, they're starting to distance themselves from the Saliba and Miss Sud car. Coming up to some traffic. Oh, nice closing up there under braking. There comes car 4.
Getting a bit serious up in the Motorcraft S's, heading into the Glowweave Goodyear corner.
And the car in third position, just coming around the Motorcraft S is there, the 49 car. So after 3 hours, this is starting to get interesting. Have we got another challenge for the lead? No, not yet. The 73 car starting to distance itself again under a bit of power.
Oh, not by very much though. It's still very, very marginal. And where's the 49 car? There it is, a bright yellow, day glow yellow car.
Cole Russell. This has got interesting very quickly, if it hasn't been all day.
It's amazing just how things change towards the end, and right at this very moment, like it really is anybody's. The guys in Saliba's pit have said, oh, he's just knocked us off, so they're going to have a go back again, of course. So, who'd have thought that they'd be racing for the lead instead of just a procession towards the end?
Oh, they're coming through the little dog leg.
The back marker in front of him. Oh, look, Kiko and Saliba's going to go right past the inside. Saliba's back in the lead again.
I think the Miss Sudden Saliba family is here.
Oh! But the back marker in front of the leader, as he was in 73, just didn't bother to take the chicane. He just went straight across the grass.
Boy, this is really interesting.
Oh, and we've got a double wave yellow. There's a double wave yellow.
Oh.
Caution on the racetrack with 7 minutes to go in the HQ Classic. 3 hours of it and about 7 minutes to go, and we've got caution on the racetrack. We've picked up the number 4 car. That's interesting. We've picked up the number 4 car behind the pace car.
Got back in front.
Just got back in front.
This is a critical part of the whole race. You've got to get a clean one.
Here we go.
They haven't formed up, and that lap car is going to stay right where he is. And I tell you what, they haven't got the green flag yet, but Saliba's gone.
It might actually help the 73 car. He got a little bit of a slingshot out. He's pulled out. They're heading down towards the end of the main straight again.
The Fletcher Everett car is making up a lot of ground on Saliba as they go down into turn 1 at Drink Drive corner, right on his tail. Give it half a car length or even less. The Fletcher Everett car right on his tail now. I'd give it about a minute and a half to go in this race, so they'll probably complete
1.5 laps.
1.5 laps up through the chicane for probably the second last time. Second place car right on the heels of our race leader. He's pushing him through the second chicane. How close is this for 3 hours of racing, ladies and gentlemen? Saliba, the Fletcher right here. Watch them under brakes as they go down the back straight into the Motorcraft S's, side by side for the second last time we predict. The Fletcher Everett car on the outside, and that is the wrong way to go around there.
White flag's going to come out. The white flag is going to come out.
Saliba in the lead around Goodyear corner for the second last time. There's still a very good field of HQ Holdens left in this race. More than half the field, but it's our race leaders taking the white flag. Saliba from Fletcher. Can Fletcher make up the distance as they go down the bottom end of the straight? He certainly is making up a lot of distance. Nose to tail as they head down into turn 1 Drink Drive corner. Slipstring him, looking for an inside running, looking for the outside running. Can he get around? Follows him around turn 1 Drink Drive corner. Absolutely pushing him. Takes the inside running. Heading towards the chicane for the last time. They're side by side. Fletcher gets an inside running on the right-hander. But can he get through? Yep. He's got through. Fletcher's done it. He's got ahead of Saliba. And now open it up by about 2 or 3 car lengths. Heading into the second chicane for the last time and up the back straight. Look at him pull away. 4 car lengths now. He's got it. He's heading up towards the Motorcraft S's for the last time. Can he keep up this pace? Another car comes into contention. He's looking for probably second spot, but not going to get it. The Fletcher Everett car is doing extremely well around the Goodyear corner, heading down towards the checkered flag this time. Saliba's done so well right throughout the day. Can he get second? He goes wide coming out of Goodyear, and the checkered flag is up. It's the Fletcher car, the 73 car, down under wreckers by about 2 or 3 car lengths. Congratulations to the Down Under Wreckers 73 car, driven by Leon Fletcher and Glenn Everett. Well, what a result after 3 hours of racing.
Who would have believed it? Second place goes to Alex Saliba, and as far as we understand, third place will go to car 49, to Philip Smith and Marshall Brewer entry, who was probably about half a dozen cars back in that final dash to the finish.
Congratulations to the Everett and Fletcher team. Hey, we didn't even find out who was driving the last stretch.
Yeah, well, I'm Glenn.
Okay, Glenn. Look, a magnificent race. Obviously a heady race. Tell me, how much brakes you got left, really?
Nothing. Just enough to stop if I'm not going too fast.
Okay, well, it didn't worry in the last load. In fact, that's probably the reason that you got through so easily.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of other people probably had the same trouble. And I didn't really know where I was through most of the race until the pace car came out. So it was just a matter of, as soon as I knew that, just get out there and go for it. But I had to do a little bit hard, unfortunately. I don't really like to do it too hard, but, you know, I ended up getting through and won the race. So.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Well, we've got the presentations here now, and handing over the presentations, Les, isn't it? Will do the job for us.
Congratulations, Leon and Glenn. Fantastic. Leon first. The inaugural 3-hour HQ Classic Champions trophy. Well done, boys. Leon?
Look, thank Les first for making this all happen, and Calder Park, and a few sponsors and so on. It's just fantastic, and I hope everybody had a good time. I know I did.
I'd like to thank everyone involved. You know, the HQ guys are all a really, you know, bunch of good blokes, and they're just the down-to-earth, good motorsport people, and they're at the lower end of the scale, and they're trying to promote, you know, HQs as much as they possibly can. So it's starting to become a little bit more recognised now. So hopefully for people like myself and others, we may have a chance of even stepping up, you know, in the future. So we'll just have to keep on struggling on. Thank you.
Give me another cheer, Leon and Glenn. Well done. Now, second place getters, my old mate Al and Joe. Go on now, boys. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
You didn't win it. Next best place is second. Good on you, guys.
I just want to say a quick thanks. As most of you know, we had a big accident at Bathurst, and we only had a couple of weeks to prepare the car. Wednesday we found a big problem, managed to fix it, and here's the result. I just want to say quickly thanks to Frank at Allmac, Cetic Steel, my co-driver, and Kevin for managing such a top pit crew. Everything went smoothly, car's fantastic. Just a special thanks, Les. This is fantastic. We've got to do it again. It's got to happen. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, Alex and Joe. Now, third place, Phil Smith from South Australia and Marshall Brewer. Yeah, Phil. Marshall. Phil.
On behalf of Phil and myself, it's been a great day. This sort of racing is certainly second to none. I've had the best fun I've had in motor racing for a long, long time. And I'd also like to say thanks very much to Tui's, Chris Milton Race Engines, who else? The pit crew, of course, for all their hard efforts. And, of course, the fine old Holden. They don't get older, they just get faster. Thanks very much.
Just before I go, I'd like to say a couple of things. I'd like to thank Steve Betts, especially. Steve, thanks very much. You made it all happen. Al Basnight and Peter Bridge, they were terrific. And special thanks to Carolyn and Yvonne, sorry. Yeah, they did all the paperwork and all the telephone calls and everything. And thanks very much, everybody. It's fantastic.
If I can just say a quick thank you to Les, because really he has put in all the work here. Calder Park Motorsport has just been the place where it's happened, and we've helped him along the way. So I think we should have a big round of applause to Les Morell and the HQRA Association. Thank you, Les. And you can bet your bottom dollar, folks, that this is going to happen again. It'll happen about this time next year, won't it, Les? You betcha. The track's booked already, he says. So we'll be back again next year. This was great. We loved it, and I'm sure everybody who competed in it and came to watch it were delighted as well. So thanks again, Les.
Thanks a lot to Cole Russell, Steve Betts, and all the guys down there. Gerald, how would you like it if you were Leon or Glenn and go down in the history books as the first ever world champions of an HQ race here at Calder Park?
The three hour enduro, fantastic. What a great race, and right down to the wire, and you know, it was a great bit of fun, but also some serious racing, and I think that was fabulous.
And Glenn, without any breaks right at the end of the stint. Tom, we'll be back next year. This was fantastic.
Yes, great fun indeed. We will invite Nigel next year, and then we'll be able to tell you exactly who's winning.
Yes. And yeah, that was good fun. If you hadn't touched the computer to start with, Tom, we wouldn't have the problem.
I don't think timing can hear us, can they? Or that's all right. We can say what we like about them. But no, it was great fun. Great afternoon. Fabulous day. If we can pick a day like this next year, Ian, well, we'll do it all over again.
We've already booked that.
We've already booked that.
Absolutely fantastic.
And the weather.
Yes.
The weather as well, and I can only say from our point of view, it's great to be back calling on the national track here at Calder Park. It's looking a picture, and it's going to look better with the new mounts that are going in. The facilities are increasing. Look forward to being back here soon. In the meantime, we'll look forward to seeing everybody in Adelaide and Eastern Creek. From Cole Russell, Tom Norton, Gerald McDoonan and myself, Ian Taylor. Drive safely on the way home. Look forward to seeing you at one of the meetings soon.